So Poops, you may have heard the story of Iran's great victory, or is it what the Malaysian media is trying to gaslight us into believing? But anyway, you may have seen a certain 10-point plan that the media says that America has accepted, but that actually is just at proposal stage, whereby Iran suggests that it will impose a fee of $2 million for every ship that passes the Strait of Hormuz. And at this point, through all the celebrations of our sapoops, maybe we should ask, does Iran actually have the right to do that? Sapoops, the short answer to that question is no. At least under international law, there is this thing that's called the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, which Singapore Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan talked about at some length. Again, I recommend you go and listen to what he said, as it is filled with wisdom. But yeah, the basic point is that under the UNCLOS, which lots of parties negotiated over more than 80 years, there is this idea that countries have what we call an exclusive economic zone, which is 0 to 200 nautical miles from where they are. And if you look at the map, clearly the Strait of Hormuz is close enough to Iran that can be the case. But there's a slight problem here, because just because you have an EEZ, it does not mean that you can stop freedom of navigation. There's this idea of what we call innocent passage, which means that if you don't have guns, if you don't intend to attack a country, then you should be allowed to go across. But of course, our solidarity sapoops are not really talking about international law at the moment. And you know, I'm actually going to push back on my own argument for a bit by mentioning our hashtag solidarity sumut sapoops. If you know anything about what's been happening in Malaysia recently, apparently Malaysia wants to go out and lead the Sumut flotilla. We even have Greenpeace nowadays. Suppose they could argue that we're sailing across the ocean for a humanitarian mission. Why doesn't Israel let us through? And sure, you could say that that is so-called innocent passage, but Israel would then respond by saying, oh no, that is armed conflict. You have niat jahat.
Or it is prejudicial to the peace, good order, or security of Israel.
And therefore we cannot let you in. To which of course those sapoops go out there and scream, that is illegal under international law. Hashtag freedom of navigation. But for some reason or another, that somehow doesn't apply in the whole Straits of Hormuz thing, where somehow it becomes Iran has the right to defend itself. The logic being that Israel and America went and attacked Iran in the middle of a negotiation, and you're saying that they still need to respect international law? And you know, that sounds nice for a while, but there are two problems with that. And the first is that is whataboutism, aka other people can do it, why we cannot do it.
Oh, and before you start yapping about the Panama and Suez Canals, understand that the context is different. This ain't a violation of international law like what Iran is doing.
And if you're one of the people who is defending those kinds of arguments, you're basically saying, wow, other people can do why I cannot do one, which sounds like it makes sense on the surface of things, but if you actually think about it, it also means that from the very beginning, before all of this started, that Israel and America were actually justified in going out and conducting these illegal attacks, as you say, on Iran. Because if you can violate, I can violate, everybody can violate, then I guess it's just a free-for-all then, isn't it? But this brings us to a second and maybe unfortunate point.
You are shooting the entire world and yourself in the foot.
By restricting the Straits of Hormuz, Iran is not just attacking America.
It is also attacking us.
All that really is happening is that Iran is trying to pressure, bully, and gaslight every other country in the world, saying that it is a tai ko tai, and trying to claim that that is just the price for America and Israel attacking.
And for some reason, that is a price that you, who were not involved, have to pay.
You can say all you want about how actually they are pressuring other countries to stop the United States of America, but actually, no, that's not what's happening. That is just an excuse, because it wants to go out there and control the ocean, control the global economy, and to put all of us hostage. But of course, our solidarity sapoops, they do not care about this because they are not affected, because they are too poor to actually be affected or to have any economic worth that they would even consider complaining about this, or they are caught up in their fake solidarity, declaring that as long as we're going against colonialism and America and Israel, then let's go, 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 baby. I don't know what these people are really thinking about. Maybe they're not even thinking about anything, but the first point that I made applies, which is that if you are saying that it is okay to violate international law and you are normalizing it, then it follows that basically every single nation can violate international law. You can talk all you want about how the sanctions on Iran are illegal,
but if you yourself are responding with illegal actions, does that not justify the illegal actions placed upon you?
if you are attacking every single one of the countries in the world by trying to collect $2 million from them and saying, oh, you need to pay to me so that I can have my reconstruction, when by right I have nothing to do with your reconstruction and I have no reason to support your right to exist, which Mehdi Hassan successfully said is not a thing the other day, then why should I continue to care for what you are saying, what you are doing? Because if you're not going to respect the UNCLOS freedom of navigation and you want to charge me money, it seems to me that I have no reason or obligation to respect you either. And this then goes out to the United States. Your attacking Iran was something that history is going to dispute. The ending the civilization thing was probably more than a little bit sus. But at this rate, if Iran is going to go out there and fight everybody else and say that it is justified because of what you did, then in my opinion, maybe what you should do is show them who truly is boss. Of course, you might not agree with this strategy or this approach, but Sapoops, if you want to support international law, then the correct approach is to say that Iran does not have the right to restrict the Straits of Hormuz and America doesn't have the right to attack Iran. You cannot just randomly say, oh, because solidarity, therefore Iran can do whatever it wants, but America cannot attack. It doesn't work that way. It will not be working that way. And may I remind you that your own country's economic livelihood depends on whether or not Iran is going to behave. So I suggest that you don't menegakkan benang yang basah and instead get Iran to realize that it needs to behave or expect retaliation or the encouragement of retaliation. Anyways, Apu, what do you think about that? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. That's all to say about that, and bye.